It's a dangerous thing when people start to give up on being in partnerships because at the end of the day, we all need someone at some point in our lives. When you're young and you're healthy, you're not thinking about making investments in partnerships. And this could be friendships and romantic and the communities that you participate in. Making investments in relationships is something that we cannot get away from. It's something we're meant to do. And unfortunately, we're starting to develop more bonds with our devices, with the digital world, and we're merging. And we're starting to merge our day to day life so much with these new technologies that assist us in every area of life. And what I see happening as an oracle, and I've talked about this for many years, but it's leading us to a place where we no longer value relationships between humans. There are people who value relationships with animals more than humans. And I get it. It is a lot of betrayal, it is a lot of manipulation, gaslighting. We have been hurt. So many of us have not integrated with our shadow self. We haven't integrated with our wounded inner child and learned how to meet that child's needs. A lot of us don't know our attachment style. And if we know it, we don't know how to begin working on it. So, energetically, you have a foundation inside of you that is going to manifest people who are a reflection of the unhealed trauma. And what I foresee happening is losing our ability to value ourselves ultimately leads to us losing the ability for us to value partnerships. And when that happens, there's no connection. And without connection, humanity is no longer human. We are constantly being triggered, deceived, brainwashed, manipulated. Persuasion is 24/7. A lot of us aren't having original thoughts, and you can feel the disconnect. When we're disconnected from the parts of ourselves that developed in traumatic experiences and throughout our life, when we're disconnected from that part of ourselves, we're disconnected from our soul. So you may not be a soulless human being, but if you're numb, if you're living in fight or flight, you don't know how to get out, you're disconnected, your nervous system is dysregulated, your emotions are dysregulated, and you don't even know where to start. It can be overwhelming. Trust me, I know. As someone who has been healing, being a nice girl, the people pleaser, the one who has to make sure she always caters to her man and she makes sure that every need of every person within my sphere of influence is being met. I burnt myself out only to discover that the root cause of me being a people pleaser and codependency was because I was trying to feel safe. And what happens when we don't feel safe in our world? We're going to attract situations that are going to reflect this lack of safety that we feel inside of ourselves. A lot of us are just trying to feel safe. A lot of us are scrolling right now, looking for something to distract you from whatever it is that's showing up in your life about you. This conversation is not for everybody. This conversation is for people who are here to be cycle breakers. This conversation is for people who have in their soul contract, I'm going to face things that have not been faced in my bloodline for a really long time, and I'm going to heal. I'm going to learn how to heal myself. I'm going to learn how to know myself deeply. I'm going to learn how to live authentically. I'm going to learn how to master vulnerability. I'm going to learn how to master where I'm investing my energy. It's all about energy investment. And right as I'm having this conversation with you, a lot of us are dealing with chronic fatigue. A lot of us are dealing with pain. Even people who don't have diagnosis and don't even know what's going on, what's happening. The planet is being terraformed for something else to be here. This is what's happening with the weather. This is why so many things are changing. The difficulty with me being an oracle, being able to go into the Akashic records comes because I can connect dots with things that seem to not connect at all. And the reason that makes it a little difficult for me because I'm not quite sure what direction to move in that is going to be of the highest service to those who are ready to do this work. But this is a journey, and everything that is happening is here to serve us. What if I told you that all of the chaos that's happening in the world is something you agreed to experience so you could become the highest version of yourself? What if I told you that the things that you are afraid of being exposed about yourself, the things that trigger you, the things that people do that make absolutely no sense to you and maybe even leave you feeling angry, resentful, and hurt? What if I told you that those things are actually the things that are showing up in your life to be a gift to you? But how do you open it? How do you transmute that energy? What do you do? What do you do when you find out that the person you're in a relationship with maybe has narcissistic tendencies? Does it just stop there or is it something else? So as I began to delve into a lot of the things happening in the world, I began to notice these things, and what I was noticing in my partner was actually connected to things that I had not noticed in myself, and I needed to figure out how was I fitting into that equation. And the key was not doing anything to change my partner, because my partner should not be a predictor of my behavior, because that's codependency. I'm saying the way that you behave controls my mood, and that controls what I do, what decisions I make, and that creates the reality that I'm living in. And if I'm in resentment, I'm going to end up creating a reality founded in resentment. And you can only imagine what that looks like. And a lot of us are living that. And it's not that we don't have valid reasons to be hurt. It's not that we don't have valid reasons to be guarded. It's not that we're not having a valid reason to be afraid of being vulnerable. Right? And so many of us learned we weren't safe, and you can't trust people. And when you look back and you're awakening and you start to connect the dots in your own life, not the world, just your life, and you notice these things, you start to feel like you were not loved the way that you needed to. And there's a period of grief that you're going to go through. There is a period of processing that anger. Do you know how to process emotions? Process emotions. Emotions isn't something that we just feel and it sits there. It's something that you process. So there's protocols for emotions. And, I think that this conversation is really, really important. I want you all to pin this and save this. I'm going to come back to this because I'm trying to organize these things. If I could just focus on one thing, it would be different. But I see the connection from the food to the frequencies to the music to the trauma that was being done with people who were creating music, and what that energetically was doing to us and our own traumas, programming our subconscious mind. Is all coming out now. And this is not going to be an easy process. It's not. But it's worth it. It's worth doing the work. So if you are ready to do the work, stick around. I'm going to complete this. I'm going to bring what it is that I have been creating for the last 6 to 7 years, as I was talking to thousands of people and noticing the common denominator in so many things. And I'm going to show you that things like narcissism, it has a spiritual meaning, and it can be used as a catalyst for you to become a better version of yourself. It doesn't have to be something that disempowers you. It doesn't have to be something that victimizes you. It's supposed to be something that helps you to become who you are here to become, to reconnect with your soul. If we are more connected with our soul, which means you have to connect with your pain, which means you have to find purpose in it, then we are not going to be so quick to hurt each other. And the real issue, the reason why we hurt one another, is being disconnected from our soul and lack of mindfulness, lack of self-awareness. So I am really ready to launch this, but hold up, stick with me. I'm going to keep giving out tips, and really soon you will be able to participate in one of the deepest, most fulfilling journeys that I am being blessed to be able to offer to you all. This is not like anything else you have ever experienced, because this I did not learn from books. I learned this from life experience, my near-death experience, going through it and working with thousands of people all around the world.